Welcome to the Mario era, chapter 159.
159 de Mario. It's me. It's Mario. We got some new coaches. Maybe NFL type coaches, but hey, boys, I'm back. And when I left, the feels like temperature was -10. So happy to be home. How you boys doing? How you guys doing?
Man,
How you guys doing?
yeah. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, DC.
Heatherman. Yeah.
Why is he a doctor?
I don't know. He looks like he could be the doctor of defense.
Maybe we give that name.
Sounds like a wrestling name.
Right?
Doctor Doom. Doctor of Defense. What's his finishing move? What's the twist of fate? The electric chair.
There are some. I've seen some highlights. I haven't seen a lot of wrestling, but I've seen some highlights on some of the social platforms, and the finishers these days
Amazing.
are intricate. Like there's a lot going on in these moves. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I've seen some good ones.
Like, they could easily go sideways and someone could really get hurt.
It all looks very dangerous to me.
You go back and you look at some of those Mick Foley tapes when he's like in Hell in a Cell and they literally throw him off a 30-foot cage. That guy had.
Have you seen the documentary of Undertaker talking about that?
Oh my goodness!
And like
I would feel
like
bad.
asking him like, up there, you sure you want to do this? You know, like
it's high. Yeah, it's high.
That's why Foley gets cheered every single time. He's possibly the most respected alumnus of that sport right now.
Oh, you have to.
I think he was just a really nice guy.
Well, and basically a stuntman.
But in doing that, you know, I mean, because you know, there's a lot of.
Quick.
I like a lot of that stuff. I like watching the back end of that stuff.
Quick, what were his three main characters' names? Go ahead.
Dude Love.
Mankind.
That's one. Mankind and
Cactus Jack.
There you go. And that's why we're all together on this podcast.
Foley was never a oiled up six-pack guy. You know, he was never the in shape steroid guy. He was the overweight, kind of roundish, and but just phenomenal.
Very pliable.
Yes.
willing to slam himself into barbed wire at pretty much any point.
Willing to get thrown into anything.
Yeah.
I watch it on Twitter, but I follow today's wrestling from a Twitter standpoint. I still haven't really cashed in to watch it. It just it's still not the Attitude Era. It's still not what it was. I know it's moved on to Netflix. They got a little bit more pliability over there. They have a little bit more leeway. So we'll see what happens. But
some of these guys, like the moves are, like I said, who's the new the guy that wears a mask?
Oh, Yenta?
So his name Penta.
Yenta.
That guy's like some of his moves are dope.
Barbara Streisand?
Like that guy's no joke.
Oh my goodness.
He's like
Yenta's entrance song is a Barbara Streisand song. Wind beneath my wings.
Here comes the Yenta.
Oh my goodness! No. Talk amongst yourself. I'm feeling a little clumped.
We're finishing.
Sorry,
She just
let me get this back on track for a second.
She just talks your ears off. You tap out. You tap
there
out.
You go.
I'm done. Stop.
Oh no! Stop.
And then he went there, and when he was done with that, he went to the other place. Oh my God, no!
He had some locks. Oh my goodness!
Yenta.
Yeah. Penta's a savage. Yeah,
he's like a big Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, he is. And now you have Rey Mysterio's kid doing it too.
Yeah.
He honestly looks like Eddie Guerrero's kid more than he looks like Rey Mysterio's kid.
Well,
she had to have had an affair with Eddie Guerrero.
Maybe.
Like she had to, because he's taller than like his dad too, because Rey is like 5'2". Like he is Rohan Marley size.
Yeah.
Like he's not even.
I wish so badly that Eddie hadn't passed away so young. He was. Yeah, if you watch his clips and his highlights, he's hysterically funny.
Oh, big time.
Like the stuff he used to do that just made you laugh. Like you're literally in the middle of this engaging match, right? And everyone's beating the crap out of each other. And then he makes everybody crack up.
Well, he was the guy
he was so brilliant.
I mean, he was thought very high up in that He's the one who took the World Wrestling title from Brock Lesnar. He was one of the guys that
That's
did
right. That's right.
Do it. It's your time, Eddie. You gotta love, but you had to love Jerry Lawler.
Is he dead?
Jerry? No, I think he's still kicking.
Ooh, no.
Him and the King.
Him and the King are alive. I think he's dead.
I think you're right.
No, let's look this up. We've been so wrong about this.
I mean, I know you got McAfee doing it now.
Jerry Lawler is still alive.
Yeah, I told you.
And he had something. He got sick or something.
And isn't it Tessitore? Yeah, isn't it a Tessitore?
Well, I don't know if Tessitore's doing it yet. I know that the last couple times it was the other guy.
Well, the guy with the accent, the English accent's
no, not the English guy. The other guy, the younger guy that's been doing it for years.
Michael Cole,
yeah. He's doing
Michael Cole
on Netflix.
Yeah, him and McAfee are good. But then I hear Tessitore doing, I mean, because they have all the offshoot brands and stuff like that.
Tessitore's perfect for it.
Yeah, he's okay.
As much as I hate him doing football, I'd rather watch him doing wrestling. He's perfect.
Can we talk about McAfee? Like, McAfee's just a natural at it. Like, he's so good.
You ever seen him in the ring?
Yes, he's phenomenal. He's got that picture on his show.
Unbelievable in the ring.
Yeah, like he is for the brand. Like, who would have thought that? Like, he's a punter for the Colts.
Is he the most successful punter of all time as far as like post?
I
can't even think of another.
No,
you know. I mean, he capitalized on the for the brand for sure.
He's amazing.
I still think the
Paul brothers are stupid good.
And for
wrestling,
and still to this day, best punter I've ever seen was Reggie Roby.
Oh yeah, sure.
I think
we're
dynamite in his right foot
because he's not the best punter ever.
Oh, I mean, as far as a leg, I thought he was the best punter. Like the Reggie Roby,
the stretching of the leg.
Yeah, Reggie Roby was the man.
It was just the vertical.
No Reggie Roby slam.
Vertical split.
Yes, it was. Yes, that's exactly what it was. Vertical split.
How do you know you're in the
off season?
Yeah, how do you know you're in the off season? We're talking about the stretch of a punter's leg.
Yeah, Reggie Roby.
But it's Reggie Roby.
Reggie Roby was Gumby in disguise.
Nobody else has ever done that.
I think he tore that thing in college and never healed back.
He didn't need to. Yeah,
he said,
you know what? I'm not even worried about
it. What did he tear? What are we talking about?
It might have been more than
gotta slap it. Chelsea unleashed.
Oh God. Jenners, I want to thank you for answering my question today in the chat. I appreciate it. I was thrown for a loop. I walked into a playa bowl locally in Plantation, and all of a sudden, like 4 high school teenage girls walk in and a boy, and they all had swim floaties on their ankles and their wrists. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And so apparently it's a TikTok game.
Yeah, it's a TikTok thing. Stupid. It's called Senior Assassins. I guess it's a game basically of like, I don't know, like water tag. If they see you in public and you don't have the floaties on, they can shoot you with water. You're out of the game, and like till there's one person. It's like a high school game.
That's kind of fun. That's kind of cool. Like to be in high school and be able to do that. Now, I will say that's probably another top reason to get rid of that app.
It's high on the list. Yeah,
high on the list, right? Although I do find it like entertaining. That would be fun.
If we bought TikTok, like what changes will we make to it?
Wouldn't make any changes to it.
None.
Print money with it.
That's a valid point.
Roy Firestone.
We got Greg. We've got Rusty. We've got is it Jen?
Jenners, close enough.
Sorry about that in Roman. How are you guys? I'm sorry.
Oh my God, this is an honor. It's Roy Firestone, everybody.
It's amazing.
I thought it was 5:30 my time, not 5. So I'm ready to go whenever you want to go.
Yeah, no,
we're never in a rush.
Let's go. Roy Firestone, everybody. Listen, if you are Generation X like ourselves, this is going to be a real treat. 7-time Emmy Award winner, 7-time Cable Ace Award winning host. Part of my after-school routine with Up Close on ESPN, man.
Dating yourself.
Absolutely. I know I am. Listen, whatever. I know I'm over 50. What are you going to do? But you were the last show I could watch before it was dinner time.
Yeah. Well,
before the TV went to all black and white,
right? Exactly.
Right, and it turned off. Couldn't watch anything.
They played
anymore.
the American flag and signed off for the night.
No. At 10 p.m. they asked you where your kids were. I mean, that was their service. That's how bad we were as Generation X kids. They didn't even know where we were. They had to remind our parents at 10 p.m. Hey, where are your kids? Oh, that's right. I haven't seen them.
I don't think I've seen a test pattern in years. I don't even think they have them anymore because there's 24-hour programming. They repeat stuff. They'll throw anything in on, cosmetic stuff, sales, whatever. They'll do whatever they have to. but they don't go off the air anymore. I remember sign off was midnight or 1.
Mhm.
Back in
Nobody wanted that slot, right?
no, yeah.
No one wanted that slot. He's like, oh my god.
So how we doing, guys?
Hey, we're great.
Doing
We're
great.
doing
We're
great.
great. So Wednesday night, Thursday
Good.
morning.
Excellent.
Yeah. And you? How are you? We appreciate you coming
I'm doing
on.
excellent. I just I'm doing a show in Houston the next week. I do a live. People, I don't know how well they know what I do outside of sports, but I'm a live performer too. Been doing it for 35, 40 years, and just did a show in Austin. I did a show before that. Let's see, where was I? I was in Canada doing a show, Wawona or something like that, I think was the name of the place near Vancouver. So I've been doing a lot of live shows, talking about my career and my life, and a musical. I do comedy impressions. I do all that stuff, and I've been doing it for a long time. I was just down in Miami not that long ago, doing a Golden Canes event. That's a big event for the fundraiser, the alum, big alum fundraisers. And I'm a big Cane, as you guys, I assume, are. All
Yep.
are you all Canes? Are you all Canes?
We're
None
all
of us
Hurricane
went
fans.
Great.
Yeah.
None of us went there. We all went
But
to
like I
different,
tell all the people who always try to bring up that argument, well, how could you be a fan of the University of Miami Hurricanes if you didn't go ahead and go to the University of Miami? And I tell them, well, I didn't go to Miami Heat College or Miami Dolphin University either, but I like them too. So just South Florida, 2/3 of us are South Florida born and raised, and we love the Hurricanes.
I was just thinking, because you guys are the Orange Bowl guys, but I was thinking the memories of the Orange Bowl. That place was a weapon for opposing teams.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it was Dolphin opponents or Cane opponents, it was a very hot, very loud stadium, and it rocked. Yes, they have Hard Rock now, and I've seen it when it's packed, and it really is impressive, but nothing like the Orange Bowl. And I think the Orange Bowl was the greatest single venue Miami, both pro and college, had going for them. They wore people out in that heat. They really did.
I'll tell you what, I think one of the biggest indictments on just the history of city government in Miami-Dade County was the neglect of that stadium that let it get to the point that they had to tear it down instead of consistently keeping it. I mean, listen, we all know towards the end, when it was rocking, if you were on the upper deck, you weren't sure if it wasn't just going to, fall off.
Well, if they hadn't, they didn't take care of it. But if they
didn't,
if they kept going, somebody would have fallen off that thing. I think there were a couple of people who did fall off the Orange Bowl somewhere along.
I was there for one of the infamous, like the wide left game, I believe, and I sat at the tippy top, leaning up against a chain link fence. Wow. And I would just look over periodically, and the stadium just shook. I mean, you were either going to get tetanus or fall to your doom. And I was just like, how is this even legal?
You know what's funny is they did have the money for the Miami baseball stadium, which is basically the site of the Orange Bowl, but they didn't have money to renovate the Orange Bowl, which is kind of too bad. But I guess they wanted to have the baseball venue, which they did, which they have. I will say this. If you ask me what was my single favorite memory at the Orange Bowl, and I saw hundreds and hundreds of Dolphin games. Then I covered University of Miami both when I was in college and away here in Los Angeles. It had to be the national championship game on the extra point that was knocked away. I thought that was still one of the greatest moments in the history of Miami sports, not just University of Miami and Orange Bowl. But there were prize fights. There were concerts. There was all kinds of stuff. But in terms of sports, to me, the greatest moment at Miami Orange Bowl history was the national championship game. By the way, the game started at 9 p.m. because the Rose Bowl ran long that night. I was standing on the sideline that night with Joe Namath, who was a little bit, shall we say, in the sauce. But
that's par for his
unlike
course.
Any other night.
Right. Yeah, he was there for his buddy Howard Schnellenberger, who coached him at Alabama. And he was right there, and he says, I think you're going to win this game. And they did. It was an amazing night. Great night.
So let me ask you this, Roy. So your entire history of doing interviews, how important is the first question?
Oh, that's interesting. It depends upon really who the guest is. If you have a good relationship with somebody, you can throw a haymaker at them, something really wild. Like I had a first question once that you brought that up with Pete Rose. I said, Pete, everyone's asked you a question about baseball and this and that, but I want to ask you something far, far away from everything else. How do you think life would have been different if you had been born a woman? And he looked at me and he goes, Roy, I would have been a hell of an ugly woman. And he would have been right.
Yeah, he's gonna love 5 questions.
Oh yeah, no,
that was probably my historic first question with anybody I've ever done. I remember having to ask Shaquille O'Neal. It wasn't on the show; it was in the field. But they lost to the Lakers had lost to the Pistons in 5 games for the NBA title. And ESPN always wants you to get their emotional status after losing, get their feelings, right? So I had to do that. I walk up to Shaq. It's 3:00 in the morning, Palace of Auburn Hills. I said, Shaq, you obviously lost the world championship tonight. What's your emotional state right now? First thing he says is, I'm a little pissed off. So I said, how pissed off are you? And he said, to the highest level of passivity. That was classic.
Wow.
That was classic. That was a first question. No, I've done, I think they closed it at 6,000 interviews now. But when you interviewed people like Shaq, you always got something new. One time I asked him after they played a big event at the World Championships, I think in Greece. I was just telling somebody about this today. And I said, Shaq, you're coming back from Greece, you win the World Championship. Let me ask you this. When you were in Greece, did you have a chance to visit the Parthenon? And he said, Roy, we went to a lot of clubs. I can't remember all the names. Unbelievable.
It's the big one. It's kind of on its own little hill. It's often maybe the cover charge was just a little too much that night.
That's right. With a guy with a name like Roman, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I visited last year.
I asked him once. I said, Shaq, this was obviously when Kobe was alive. I said, what's the difference between you and Kobe Bryant? He goes, well, Kobe is more of a loner, but me, I'm much more of a socialist. A socialist. I said, well, I think Karl Marx is spinning in his grave as we speak. Now, I'm just talking to somebody today about doing a book about Shaq, and they're interviewing me about it. There's a guy, you talk about an evolution for an athlete. This is a guy who was a stumbling stutterer. He did my show when he was 18. He could barely put 2 words together, honest to God. His father came on with him, his stepfather. Now he is the greatest global pitchman, probably this side of Patrick Mahomes. He's worth about $600 or $700 million. He's on every commercial, Shaq is. And he went from kind of a shy, introverted guy who wasn't so confident about how he spoke to being one of the most beloved figures in all of sports history. But now he's done everything he did. I mean, he's in everything he ever did. And it's very impressive because he's come an awfully long way. And he's still a beloved figure in sports. What he says matters.
Is there a parallel there? Like any other athlete that ever had that sort of a run?
Barkley would be one. I mean, think Barkley, but Barkley was always confident and always quotable. But I think that when you look at Shaq, Bill Walton, ironically, was a stuttering guy, and he was not comfortable being interviewed. Then he became like Ulster Cook. He wouldn't get him to stop. Couldn't get him to shut up about anything. We lost him, last year?
Last year, yeah.
Great guy, wonderful, probably one of my closest friends in sports. But I learned that if you have a long career and you have a long ability to evolve, you can. I mean, I started out in Miami on TV. I don't know how many of you even know this, but I started in Miami television in 1975, and I was literally 22 years old. And I got on the air, and I had no business being on the air. I came out here about 2 years later, and I've been here ever since, here being Los Angeles, of course. And I'm very grateful because I had a chance to evolve because I was able to have a long career. Not everybody is afforded that real gift and being around for a long time. So I found my feet, and I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to do the show, the Up Close show before that Sports Look. And I've been doing all kinds of stuff ever since.
We recently had Chris Myers on. Did you cross paths with
Oh
him
yeah. Not only did I
early in the career?
Definitely. Not only did I cross paths with him, of course, we were in Miami at the same time. Then I left to come out here. He took over my show after I left 1995. And I think he did it for 2 years. And then they had a guy named Gary Miller, I think, did something, and Chris Connolly did it. You know, listen, they're all pros. They all did a good job. But I think that we had probably more fun and more quotable moments on our show up close than probably any sports show of its kind, certainly. And I was very fortunate to have it. But Chris is doing great. He's doing great on Fox. He's been there for many, many years, like probably 25 years or something like that. And very happy for him. Very happy for him.
So out of all the interviews, what is one that just immediately, if I ask you that question, what is one that pops out?
Boy, it's so hard, but I will give you some quick stories if you'd like.
Please.
When I had Wilt Chamberlain on, it wasn't just him coming to the show, because Wilt at the time didn't do a lot of interviews. I saw him at a restaurant, and I was coming out of the restaurant, and he's in a Rolls-Royce convertible. He's got two Dalmatian-sized, dogs. They were size of horses in the back seat, right? In the front seat is a beautiful blonde woman, packed into a leather dress, if you know what I'm saying. And a Wilt. He's wearing a silk purple and silver jumpsuit with a burgundy beret, a lemon line feather coming out. I'll never forget it. He had puka shells. He had the neon belled scarves, and he's got a walking stick, and he had no shoes propped up against the steering. And I saw him, and I said, Wilt, I would love to have you do my show. Do you think you could come on? He said, Roy, I'm trying to understand this. You want me to come on? And he's dressed like this. He goes, I'm trying to keep a low profile, Roy. You have to. He was. I once. I asked. Here's a good one. I asked Charles Barkley and Olajuwon together as a dual interview. I said, Hakeem, Charles, are you going to go to heaven someday? And Olajuwon thought for a second. He's got this beautiful Nigerian voice. Well, I believe if my service to God is pure and consistent, and the spirit of community and the charity for all and the generosity of the soul, I believe I shall go to heaven. Thank you very much. So I said, how about you, Charles? Are you going to heaven? He goes, I don't know, but it's definitely going to be a close vote. It was unbelievable. Shannon Sharp, I had, Shannon Sharp. That was great. His brother just
you
got.
You guys want to do dueling imitations of Shannon Sharp?
Shannon Sharp.
You got to do.
Right.
Yeah,
I do too. Go ahead.
Let me hear it.
So listen, Tim Tebow, I like, he was one of the greatest quarterbacks, but he was really trapped in another man's body because he should have been a tight end. And the reason why the Indian, who that team that Wes Welker played for was, he was like a tight end trapped in a smaller man's body. But that's just what happened. And over to you, Boom. Over to you, Roy. Let's go.
I love Shannon. So I said to him, Shannon, let's be honest. You went to Savannah State University. Not a lot of Rhodes Scholars coming out of there. I said, but would you say when you were in school, that you graduated to the level of magna cum laude? He said, Roy, the fact that they even graduated is thank you, Lottie.
Goodness.
He's got some good ones. I tell you, I did see.
I got stories. I've written four books. I can plug one book right now. One is called That's What I'm Talking About. It's my latest book. If you want to get it, go to royfirestone.com if you're listening, and I'll be happy to sign it for you, whatever, if you want to get it. But I have had so many experiences. Like, one of the things that I'm really thrilled with is I got to cover Mike Tyson when he was Mike Tyson. And you talk about a roller coaster. I interviewed Mike from he started in the 80s and it went into the late 80s, early 90s and beyond. And the night that he knocked out Michael Spinks, do you remember that? 1988, sure. 1 minute. It was actually 91 seconds.
Threw him into the ropes.
And I had flown across country from Los Angeles to be in Atlantic City for this fight. I sat down, and guys, when I tell you I didn't have time to take a sip of my Coke, right? The fight is over in 90 seconds. But the round didn't go one full round. So now you know what this is like. I'm running to the press room to get a good seat because I want to hear Mike Tyson answer my question. But as I'm running to the press room, I hear a commotion behind me, and I turn around, and it is Mike Tyson with 3 or 4 of his handlers. They had just walked out of the ring. He didn't even wait for the announcement that he won the fight. He's running down the way, and he sees me. True story. He goes, "Oh my God, it's Roy Firestone. Roy Firestone, I got to ask you a question. Oh my God, come here." I'm like I was at a freaking mall or something, right? So he goes, "I got to tell you something. I was watching your show last." Mike, we got to go, man. Mike, we got to go to the press room. No, let me just tell him. I was watching your show last week. You had a very, very compelling show. Your father was on. He was very, very impressive. I just want you to know that I thought he was very, very knowledgeable at the sport of boxing. And would you give him my best? Now, here's what happened. My father hated Mike Tyson, hated him. I run to a payphone.
A payphone.
Because there was no cell phones in those days. It's 88. I run to the payphone. I call my father, wake him up at 11 o'clock, lives in Miami. I said, "Pop, I just saw the Mike Tyson fight." He goes, "Oh, let me tell you that bum, he should be in jail. He's a criminal. He's a felon. He's disgusting. He's the worst. He has no business even making a living. He's a bum. He should be thrown in jail," right? I said, "Yeah, but Pop, he just told me he saw the show you were on last week and he thought you were terrific. He thought you knew a lot about boxing. He enjoyed your show. And he said, for you to have his very best wishes." My father goes, long pause. "Well, he is one of the great champions we ever had." That's another true story. I had so much. I got to cover Joe Montana and Joe Namath and all these people, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, all the greats. I'm the luckiest guy. I mean, it sounds like I'm pulling the Lou Gehrig thing, but I mean it. I'm the luckiest guy who's ever been with a microphone in his hands. I got to do everything, still do. I still get to do a lot of cool things. I got to open in Las Vegas for Lou Rawls and sing on national TV. I got to sing for the 9/11 surviving families for the Reds when they were the Redskins, opening day in FedEx Field. I'm telling you, man, I've had so much fun. I've enjoyed it so much. It's been an extraordinary life for me, and I'm lucky that I still get to do it. I'm young enough to appreciate it.
Well, I just didn't hear the echo. I love the speech. I was waiting for I'm the luckiest man.
I'm the luckiest man.
And why did he say oath? Right? It wasn't the earth. I'm the luckiest man on the oath.
Well, he was from New York. He had a New York accent.
Luckiest man of the oath.
But the thing is, I would have liked to have covered those guys too. I would have loved to interview. People who say, "Who would you have loved to interview?" I would have loved to.
Well, Mickey was a character, and when you brought up the Pete, when you brought up the Pete Rose story, and you were talking about like the first question you asked Pete if he was a woman, I was like, well, the Mickey Mantle quote that always stuck with me because they asked him, what about Pete Rose's hit record? He goes, and Mickey famously said, "If I would have hit that many singles, I would have wore a dress."
Yeah,
I can never let that go.
I always felt that I got to interview Mickey many, many times. In fact, I think I did the last TV interview with him. But I would have liked to have interviewed Babe. I think Babe was a real piece of work. First of all, he was one of one. He was a real character. He wasn't cautious about, "Oh, who are my sponsors here? I'm going to offend somebody." He just let it all hang out. He was as big a star. He was sort of like as big as Madonna was in music in her heyday, or Gaga, or even anybody, Taylor Swift. But Pete Rose was a character. I got to interview him many, many times. I actually liked him. I think he was just a pathological liar. What can I tell you? but I think
I liked him though.
I liked him too. He was a likable guy. He had a lot of. He loved his sport. He definitely loved baseball, and I think it's a shame that he died never seeing I think his name is on a plaque somewhere in the Cooperstown for being the hit leader. But he could have handled it better. He didn't handle it well. He lied about it, and then he continued to lie, and then he admitted he lied, and then he was selling baseballs. I'm sorry I lied, you know. But I don't know. I had so many great runs in doing what I did, doing to interview all these great people. You know, people say, well, who's the best player? You know, you've had in my time of doing television at ESPN, I don't think there was a better player than Barry Bonds. I also think, you know, he was a weird guy. I'll tell you an amazing story. I was in Houston. It was at that time it was called Minute Maid. I don't know if it's what it is now.
Whatever the sponsor is today.
No, yeah,
Minute Maid Park. Yeah, I remember that. Is it?
Minute Maid Park. And
no, it's different now.
He was hanging on the record. He was just on the verge of the record to break the single season home run record. And ESPN sends me out there. And this is a true story. I'm out there. I said, Barry, can I come back tomorrow? We do something because he was really surly to a lot of media. He says, you come tomorrow at 2:00, 3:00 early, and we'll do something. I said, great. So I go the next day. It's 2:00. Come down there. Place is empty, but there's 200 camera guys, writers waiting for Barry Bonds. And I walk up to him. He goes, Roy. Wait till you hear the payoff to this. Roy, how you doing, brother? And he hugs me. He's hugging me a long time. Now, I knew him a little bit, but it wasn't worthy of this kind of reaction, right? Oh, man, how you been? How's your family? I said, good, Barry. And then he whispers in my ear. He goes, keep hugging me. The photographers will never take a picture of me if you're hugging me. So this is a way for me to not get any pictures taken with the paparazzi. I felt like baseball pimp. You know, I felt like he actually was using me so they wouldn't take pictures of him. It was a real ego stroke for me on my part, I'll tell you that. But Barry was great, and I had a good relationship with him, relatively speaking. He turned on me a couple of times, but you know, most of these people today are kind of vanilla because they're corporately involved with all these sponsors. They're not going to say anything. I think in my era, and again, I did close to 6,000 shows, 6,000 interviews, I should say. I think I had the golden age myself.
Yeah, that's true because they were 100%. Unfiltered. Yeah, they were unfiltered. And I don't disagree with you, Barry Bonds. I mean, when you're getting walked with the bases loaded, that is. And I understand the steroids thing in a steroid era. And Roy, I never played at the major league level, but I was a minor league player, and my head didn't get as big as a Rottweiler because of, you know, natural causes, if wink, wink. So we were in that era. And it didn't, to me, it was always that thing. Okay, maybe he got a couple more warning track home runs out of it, but it's still, that wasn't the prerequisite why he was the greatest hitter.
Yeah, but Roman, I don't agree with you. He got more than a few warning track home runs. He got juiced up. He went.
No, I know he got juiced up, but what I'm saying, it's still remarkably hard to hit a baseball.
It is, but to go from 42 to 73 home runs.
Oh, he would have hit like maybe 65 without it.
There's a warning track the year before. You got to go back and look.
Big warning tracks.
Yeah,
we have to go back to the original thought, and that's this: if he doesn't juice, he still makes the Hall of Fame. He was
easily.
Yeah. Well, if he doesn't have the 73 home runs, he's still a Hall of Famer. And that's the crime. I remember interviewing him right after he started juicing because it was right after McGuire and Sosa year. And he came on the show. He looked like the Michelin Man. He was so big. I said, boy, did you put some weight on? He goes, no, man, I didn't put any weight on. I put muscle on. I said, how'd you do that? He goes, working out.
Yeah, with the cream in the clear, baby.
The cream, yeah, I remember. Oh my God,
wasn't he a coach with the Marlins for 1 year or 2 years?
Yeah, he was. He was a hitting coach.
He was a hitting coach. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, so Roy, you know, it's funny you bring that up because that era of baseball, and while they, you know, poo-poo it now, with all due respect, that's the last time I can remember that baseball was water cooler, that folks woke up the next morning. What did those, like, I mean, McGuire, Sosa, that thing every morning was like, who did what yesterday? And same with Bonds. I remember watching those last 7 home runs live on ESPN cut-ins. And just trying to, like, that's the last time I can remember.
The last time anyone truly cared about that sport, to be honest with you.
You know, I think, okay, I see your point. But I got to tell you, Ohtani last year with the...
I was just going to say that. On this side of the Atlantic, maybe. But you got to understand what's going on.
Ohtani, that's a big deal. And, you know, he's going to win 13 games pitching this year, too. He's going he might have 40 home runs and win 10, 12, 13 games. And he stole bases, as you saw. And he's the most complete player.
But it wasn't a tune-in moment every at bat, I don't think, to the way the other
he got close to the 60-60 they did.
No, he did. Yeah, but it wasn't quite, I don't know, that height.
But yeah, like, I mean, look, I think if you think about it overall, he's probably the most complete, best player to ever play baseball. Like,
I think so. If you want to compare him to Babe, you got to understand Babe only pitched in the majors like 2.5 years. This guy pitches, he hits, he steals bases.
But he's one guy.
Yes, and he's one
right,
guy.
and he's carrying or trying to carry an entire sport.
And you hear what they say. I mean, some of it, it's just because he doesn't speak the language. And that's not, is that fair?
Do I think he should? Yes, I think he should, but I think it takes time. Japanese is a tough language to learn English. But the late Fernando Valenzuela took him 3 years before he could speak English. And I think you got to give the guy, although he has
absolutely.
Been, but although Ohtani has been in the majors for more than 3 years, he's been around. But I think he's going to speak English. I just think he's a very shy kid. I think culturally, the Japanese people are not me people. They have 3 starting pitchers this year, the Dodgers, who are Japanese. 3 of the rotation. That's a first. I was talking to me the other day about the Dodgers. I could see how people around the country would resent the Dodgers because they get everybody they want. They spend as much as they want. And I think they're trying to address it at major leagues. They're saying, is this bad for baseball, the competitive balance thing? And Dodgers have, before they sell a ticket, they have $300 million to spend every year before they sell a ticket. And they also sell 4 million tickets a year too, because of the TV deal. That's where the disparity is. The TV deals are different from team to team. So if you had the Yankees have a great TV deal, the Mets have a great TV deal, but the Royals don't, the Brewers don't, the Orioles don't. So they're going to be, unless they spend billions of dollars without TV revenue, they're not going to ever be able to compete player for player, I don't think.
Well, Roy, for Ohtani, financially, he should learn English because it'll save him a lot of money.
Yeah,
those translators are very expensive.
Right. That's especially that translator.
Asian Dave Matthews. Long story. Right. We won't get into it.
Let me ask you this. So we made reference. You went, graduated at University of Miami, also Miami Beach Senior High. I know that when people ask me, if we ever get into a conversation as to where I went to high school, a lot of times they'll be like, "Who's your most famous alum?" And so I have a name that I'll throw out there. But for you, the alum roster at Miami Beach Senior High is pretty friggin' impressive, man. So when people ask,
we had
who's the most famous, who do you say?
Mickey Rourke is one. He's a pretty major actor. We had Brett Ratner, who's a great director. He did a lot of films.
Barbara Walters.
Barbara Walters also went there. I think sports-wise, I think I'm on the map somewhere from Beach High. But we had a lot of fun in that era.
Uncle Luke went there.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Desmond Childs. I don't know if that name.
God. Yeah. Norman Smiley, the wrestler.
Yeah, that's right. So, we had fun. We were pretty crummy in football, but we were real good at basketball. All these Jewish kids were point guards hitting balls.
We running the Princeton offense before it was sexy.
Pick and roll.
I remember Miami Jackson High School. Obviously, the Jackson Generals are still going, I think. And they had Michael Thompson, who played for the Lakers. They had 3 or 4 NBA players on that team. And they had a guy named Jake Caldwell was the coach.
It's a good banker.
It was like Caldwell. he was like an NBA coach. They were loaded. They were so talented. And that was a different era. I think I don't even know what the top sport is in Dade County now. I would imagine basketball would pretty much be a big deal, but football is also a pretty big deal too.
I still think it's football. Football is king down here.
Too.
Yeah. Just I think per capita, what we put into the NFL and what we put into the major D1 programs, I think football is king.
Well, I'm a Cane.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Canes. I thought last year was equal parts thrilling and equal parts disappointing. I think, if they had any kind of defense last year, they had even a mediocre defense. They had a poor defense. Mediocre defense, they play for the national championship. I really believe that's how good Ward was last year.
Yes.
And they lost a lot of players. They got a really good quarterback coming in now, and the guy from Georgia, and they could be good, but if their defense has to be good, because if their defense isn't good, they're not going anywhere. They have a
the defense has been completely revamped, as you know. New DC, the entire secondary is going to be new. You got 2 guys staying, the rest are all being replaced.
Right.
Now you've got Damian Lewis, who they brought in for D line. New safeties coach who they stole from Florida. So they're
not finished yet. They still have one more period of
They do,
right?
They do.
Which we've brought in some really good players in the portal before. And Roy, you bring up the point of all points being like, listen, you're not going to replace Cam Ward, and we've tried to warn Canes fans what you saw last year was an absolute almost aberration. It was phenomenal. That was one of the best quarterbacking seasons I've ever witnessed from a Miami Hurricane quarterback.
I was at the Cal game in person.
Oh,
I don't know if you guys remember. They were down.
Oh, yeah, we were doing a lot.
We remember
that.
They were down 21 with 7 minutes left.
Yeah,
and they won the game. And I saw Cam Ward just take over. Man, he was something else. And I think if he plays the second half of the bowl,
Iowa State. Oh yeah.
They win that too. I mean, they just didn't have the defense. It wasn't his fault. And I think he's going to be the top pick. I really do.
Same. I think so. I did see the Jets are interested potentially in trading up, and Tennessee's okay with getting out of that spot.
But Tennessee could use him too.
100%. They could use a lot of draft picks.
Cam Ward, I don't know if you saw this quote. He goes, I don't know who's going to draft me, but if those who don't draft me, I'm going to be sorry. I never saw that from a player getting ready to be drafted. That's pretty cocky, but it's also confident. Yeah. And he said, I'll never forget Tom Brady telling me, this is in 2001 or 2002, right when he first came in. He walked up to Robert Kraft, the owner, and he said, I want to thank you for drafting me, Mr. Kraft. You'll never be sorry, but all those other teams that didn't draft me will be sorry. I thought that was a pretty amazing thing to say for a guy who hadn't had a snap yet in the NFL.
Well, and Roy, I grew up in Connecticut, and that was Bledsoe's team. And when Bledsoe got hurt and Brady came in, no one was like, "Oh yeah, here's the savior." It was like, "Wait, this." It was caught the entire.
Barely played at Michigan.
Yeah. He barely played at Michigan, exactly.
One season.
He was at one point. The story goes 6th string at Michigan. 6th string. That's like 4 guys before you, and then 2 more, then another. I mean,
and the safety punter who plays quarterback every now and then.
What an amazing story that was. What do you guys think of him? I think he does a nice job at the broadcast. I actually do.
I think he's getting better.
Yeah, he's getting better. He's no Greg Olson, but
we're Greg Olson fans. I know he went from the University of Miami, but I think he's still a rookie in the broadcast booth.
But I think Vilma is good too.
Vilma is very good.
Absolutely,
Vilma is very good.
Roy, let me ask you this, because you brought it up earlier. In terms of upsets, like shocking things sports-wise you've ever seen, where does Tyson Douglas fit?
Right there with Ali Liston, Clay Liston. I think you could make an argument it's the single biggest upset. Well, I was at the Colts-Jets game. I was at Super Bowl III. That was a shocker. They were some lines had the Colts favored by 29. And the Jets won. Clay Liston was pretty high up on that list too. I think it was a shocker for Miami beat Nebraska for the national championship, the first one. That was a shocker too. So, but I think Douglas and Tyson was pretty close to the biggest upset in my era for sure. And we'll see more, I'm sure. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, because most people, what was the bigger upset, Miami beating Nebraska or Buster beating Mike Tyson?
Well, Clay over Liston was pretty big too. I was a little kid at the time, but I grew up and there was a lot of fuss over Cassius Clay, when he was known as Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali. They thought he was going to they had an ambulance standing by because they thought Liston was going to murder the kid. And he won. But he was a big mainstay in Miami Beach because he trained on Miami Beach. And so Clay, just to give you an idea how far we've come, some might say, and maybe rightly, we still got a long way to go, which we probably do, civil rights wise. But in 1964, he's training to fight Sonny Liston. Cassius Clay was not allowed on Miami Beach after 6 o'clock. There was a curfew against black people on Miami Beach. You couldn't be on Miami Beach after 6 if you were black. Think about that. And he would be doing his road work at 5:30. The cop cars would come by and they went, "Oh, that's Clay. We got to let him do his road work." But he got a waiver because in 1964, it's hard to believe, black people were not allowed on Miami Beach after 6 p.m. And I remember this as a little kid, black people were only allowed in the end zone at the Orange Bowl. They were not allowed in the regular stands. Can you imagine?
Wow.
That's true. Yeah.
And
yep. Well, listen, guys, I think I'm going to have to wrap it, unfortunately, but maybe we could do it again. I've really enjoyed hanging with you guys, and I hope that you enjoyed too. And
where does everyone get your content?
My content is royfirestone.com, and I'm also on YouTube. I'm on Facebook, Roy Allen Firestone, because there's somebody took my name, Roy Firestone.
Oh, boo.
Yeah. And as I said, I have now 4 books, including a children's book. So that's one of the ways. I'm all over YouTube. I do all kinds of stuff. And I'm having a ball, man. And I appreciate you guys having me on. I hope you're enjoying what you do. Key thing is don't ever, if it ever feels like work, then you got a problem.
Yep.
I don't think this isn't work. I don't know if you can tell. Like, my work is this, and it's in the background. So if I got a 911 call in the middle of this, I was out the door.
Drinking on the job.
I'm proud to say I never worked a day in my life.
There you go.
Amen.
Roy Firestone, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
We'll talk to you again.
Guys. Go Canes.
Go Canes.
Hey, it's Toast. Ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved. They're ready to eat in 2 minutes, and you can fuel right, feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor rice, fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. Lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Facto keto meals, I should say. I don't know why. It's been a long day for me. Don't worry. 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week. It's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. There you go. Factor can also help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfast, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. Here's the deal. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/orange50, the number 50 off. Use code orange50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code orange50 off at factormeals.com/orange50 off to get 50% off free shipping on your first box.
That was a legend.
Yeah, we were about to ask about the 5 questions, but then he said I got a wrap, so we bailed on that. But yeah, bro, he got interviews himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, after 5,000 interviews.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Gotta love a guest that does his own prep.
It's like you made it easy. I was like, yes. Yeah.
Excellent.
So you remember the old, the old show, About 30 Man, Neil Rogers show,
yes.
Right? When he says Roy, is it him?
No. So it's
okay.
Roy Pressman, who was an engineer down here. That's who he's referring to. Yes.
Oh, see, because I wanted to just the whole interview with Roy Firestone just keep going. Roy, About 30 man. About 30 man.
Yeah. About 30 man.
I know that's Mr.
Rogers
D.
Things were all inside. They're all inside radio things for the most part. But
I'm exhausted. I am thoroughly beat. I didn't even say anything.
Yeah, that was
cooked.
I don't know if you asked.
I was hanging on every word. I
tried.
I had some work going on at the same time, but we managed.
We did, yeah. No, listen.
I did try to ask questions.
But great stories, though. Holy cow!
Yeah.
Oh, that was
the
like
Will Chamberlain thing was
infinitesimal.
Oh, he's interviewed anybody of note.
Everybody you could ever think about interviewing. Like, if you had a wish list of interviewing anybody in the sports world, Roy Firestone he's
like Larry King of sports.
Unbelievable.
Everybody.
And a University of Miami Hurricane alumni.
He interviewed everybody.
And you know it too, because reaching out to Roy Firestone and stuff like that. You want to know the number one reason he came on our show? because we're the Orange Bowl boys.
No,
and
we're
it
the
just
Orange Bowl
elicits.
guys.
You realize that both
Yes,
of them
in a row,
have called
guys.
us.
Both interviews.
He and Chris Myers have
Yes.
both called us the Orange Bowl
Orange
guys.
Bowl guys.
Well, we are rebranding the show in
well-
case you guys didn't know.
Oh,
Well-
are we?
Well, they
Yeah.
look at us and they're like, these guys don't look like boys.
Eh.
They're grown as men.
And they should call us the Orange Bowl gentlemen.
The OBGs. YN.
Oh, wait, hold on. What?
Yeah. We'll need to
The
go
Orange
ahead and
Bowl
make sure
guys
that,
That's a whole
Youth
nother
Network.
we'll need to make sure that moving forward they are aware it is Orange Bowl boys.
No, I like that rebranding. Listen to
Do
me
you like
real
the
quick.
guys?
We're going to
I
do it.
don't- No, I don't like the
No,
OBG.
no, it's the Orange Bowl guys
Oh, I don't like the OBG. No.
yearly network.
Toast doesn't like boobies. He's
like
not
yes,
a
no.
bougie guy.
Hey,
All right. Should we go down to Green Tree?
before we do, what do you call a deaf gynecologist?
Oh God.
A lip reader.
Dick.
Oh, sorry.
Nice.
Stepped on it with the drop. It was all
Speaking of
probably-
OBGYNs. All right.
So the big news.
Let's go.
This week
Let's
was
go. I had myself muted.
Mario.
Mario.
Mine was. He was having an old friend of mine. A song stuck in my head that he had called "Is it Mario or Mario?"
I think that's disrespectful to football.
Whatever.
It is disrespectful.
It is.
The big
Mario.
thing, the big news this week is Mario Cristobal went up to Gainesville, grabbed Billy Napier by the back of the neck and just shoved him in a locker and then closed that locker and just spun the lock and walked away with Will Harris.
I mean, supposedly.
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 Why supposedly?
It's supposedly. I
supposedly.
mean, there's a lot of rumors
Supposedly.
that he's you know.
He tweeted out, thanks to Billy Naps and Strickland and everything, I'm out.
I know. No,
The whole
I'm saying
NFL
this.
thing?
Yeah, the NFL thing.
I
I don't know. I don't know.
Why would you do that to a fan base you just came to? And how do you not
Why wouldn't you?
pay him enough to squelch that in the bud when you hire him? What the fuck? How do you lose a guy 5 days in? Come on now.
Well, what if he's got what? Well, what
How
if
much are
he's
they
going
gonna
to
pay
be
him
a
to be
safeties
what?
coach or defensive back coach in the NFL? Maybe he doesn't like recruiting. He does like recruiting. He's a
He loves
very good
recruiting.
recruiter. But maybe he would prefer to be in the league.
Well, he'll be an offer again next year. They're offering him this year. They'll offer him in the future.
No,
Sure.
no.
He's going to have the greatest
how that
year in
works.
college football next year. Of
Oh,
course he's going to get an offer.
Okay.
They just spent $5 million on it.
I think the secondary is going to be really, really good.
I totally made up that number.
You're probably right with that number. I think the secondary is going to be really, really good.
I would
I mean,
hope.
whatever he does. Whatever he does at this point, regardless if he goes off to the NFL, he spurned the Gators. Regardless of what they said, Mario Cristobal was able to attract him to the University of Miami. He
Not if he
spurned.
doesn't stay row.
No, I think no. Listen,
maybe it's a Billy
they'll,
Knapp.
they'll try to spin it. They'll try to spin it and be like, "Oh, he didn't even. He was scared off to the NFL." Listen, he got promoted from the University of Miami. We took him from here, right? We took him from the Gators.
He didn't
They
want
wanted
to
to
coach in a
keep him.
rented stadium.
Yeah, exactly. Right. We always say I'd rather rent a Lambo than ride that Yugo. You call a stadium. All right, stuffing Billy Napier in the locker too.
All
And
right. All right.
regardless, we already got that salvo off. If he goes to the NFL, it's on deaf ears, and then we go ahead and get another DB coach. I'm not worried about it.
I just don't want to lose I'd love to get a couple cycles of his recruiting, and if we could, that'd be great.
And we talked about it even the last two episodes. We were like, if Mario's going to go ahead and assign and attach himself to anybody, they're going to be good recruiters. They're going to be good recruiters. I think let's play this game. If you're going to have your best recruiters, right? What position group do you want them at? I would probably say defensive line and DB.
Mhm.
I'm going to be honest. You have a little bit more of a leash with tight ends, right? Because they just don't. The great ones factor in offenses, but you could have a great offense without a great tight end because there's a lot of teams who have done that. Running back, I mean, the way the NFL is, yeah, you want great running backs, but running back by committee works just fine, right? That's my opinion. So what position would you put your best recruiters on? Because to me, defensive line, DB probably go like hand in hand. Quarterback's kind of important too.
Our new kicker, Carter Davis, setting some pretty high expectations by posting a video of him hitting one from 75.
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, like, why would you do that to yourself, bro? Like, that's a fucking bar that, like, if you miss
completely
anything under 50,
unnecessary.
now we're gonna roast you.
I can be honest with you. I didn't even know he was committed.
It wouldn't even fit in our IPF.
Right?
He outkicked our IPF.
To be able to make it from 75, the arch may be too tall for the indoor practice facility.
I'm just saying.
Because you're not making it on a line.
Well, no, I don't even think the facility is 75 yards long.
I think it's 80. Maybe not. I don't know.
I think he just busted through the door.
That's why they're going to
the men's room.
But I did.
That's why they're extending it because
I was
of
like,
him.
who is this kid? I honestly didn't even know he was on the team.
Yeah, well, there you go. He's there, and he seems to be good from 75. So just remember that when we're down 3 and Mario chooses not to kick from 45 out because there's a breeze. Let's see. I'm doing a new thing here where I kind of scroll through our week that was X. Man,
hold on a second. Does he go for it less this coming year in situations the last year he went for it simply because of the Cam Ward factor?
I think so.
I think it depends how he's feeling about that.
Begrudgingly, yes. Begrudgingly, I don't think. I mean, begrudgingly, no. I don't think he's going to go for it as much as he is. I'm agreeing with you, Scoop.
I don't know. I think he may go more. I think we may have a more effective running game.
Well, we know we can have an effective running game. Just look at that.
We're
like the only team that could like rush over 300 yards and still lose. So, my goodness. This has been therapy this offseason.
I'm assuming it was Scoop that tweeted out the whole deal about hating Nirvana.
Yeah. Well, I hate Nirvana too.
I know you do as well.
That's what.
Look,
the Post Malone.
Look, I got to be honest with you. I love Post Malone.
Mm-hmm.
I do too.
I love Dave Grohl.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was dog shit. If you heard it,
I did.
I don't care. I don't care how into it or happy they looked.
Mm-hmm.
As people like say, they looked so happy. They loved it. No, they didn't. They were just happy to be on stage again.
First of all, I don't know who the guitar player was.
It was terrible.
But the best thing that come out of that performance was the meme, the side-by-side shot of Chris Novoselic and the janitor from the original video.
Same guy.
The same fucking
guy.
Look, it's been a number of years.
Oh, I know.
All right, you want to do some 5 questions?
I did not listen to the entire thing. If you
5 questions, but before we go into 5 questions, we have answers.
In row, let me just say, have you ordered the cherries yet?
No, but I will.
Still didn't get that joke.
Yeah, it went over my fucking head, as you said.
Yeah,
and he didn't even go back to reread it and figure it out. It couldn't have been any more obvious.
I did not.
It was a wink. I even winked at him. I don't
know. Yeah. These are the most amazing Italian cherries in the world in your bourbon, and it will ruin your row. You'll never have a bourbon without a cherry.
Oh, I'm doing it. I'm doing it
again.
Dude, my local like Eagle Rare stash dealer upped the price by like $20.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, it is terrible.
And listen, I'll tell you what. Much as I love the Buffalo Trace, bro, I think Woodford Reserve's got your ass.
Double oaked or single?
No. The double oak.
The double oaked oak? I've had the Woodford double oaked.
There's a double oak and a double oak.
Okay, I haven't had the double oak.
$200 a bottle.
Oh, okay.
And according to Jimbo, it's like you're licking the inside of the barrel.
Dude, that doesn't sound attractive.
Wow. How is that a selling point?
He loves him in Jimbo. Does Jen know? No, I'm just saying. Now he gets it.
I get that one.
Yeah. Love you.
Love you, bro.
Before we get to 5 questions, we got answers, and the answer's on top of Scoop's head.
Paul Baines, our partners. What are we doing?
Jesus.
Paul Baines
right now.
Roofing. You know them. You know the number 981 Roof. Total testimonials of people with their roofs done good. They done good by them, me included. So here we go. Paul Baines Roofing. What's his name? Scoop.
Paul.
And what do you do with Paul?
Give me a call, please.
Because it's blue tarp season, and before you know, we're going to be in hurricane season again. Right? Just blink. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to be prepared. Know that number. If you have a little bit of a drip problem now, well, just call that number, Paul Baines Roofing. They not only do complete roof repairs, right? They do complete roofs too. Baines.
MiamiHCS.com. Miami Hurricane Team Store is the official merchandise provider of your Miami Hurricanes. You can use promo code OBB24 either online or in person in Coral Gables, and you will get yourself 20% off whatever you're purchasing. Additionally, you can also get 20% off if you go to manscaped.com and use promo code OBB there as well. And as Scoop is going to get in talking about the packages, I will just say, you made it this far in on Thursday morning, you need to get into the BTB because there are 3 pre-tournament 5-unit max plays on the board for the Mexican Open.
Let's take our money and do all 3.
Trace 3 of them.
Wow.
Yeah. And these are tournament plays, so your money's going to be locked up for 4 days, which is the only downside to betting golf. You will not get these winnings until Sunday night at like 9 p.m.
True. True, but you can get the plays at beatingthebookie.com or that's where you get them, beatingthebookie.com. But if you follow them on Instagram, TikTok, the other thing, Twitter, X, at beatingthebookie, you get some free plays. So he'll drop some free plays out there, and he'll hook you up, and you guys win some money.
He had a great week last week.
Yeah. Well done.
Been having a great year.
Yeah.
It's not just been having a great week. It's been having a great year.
You hit a 5,300 to 1. It's, you're good for the year.
You can retire.
Yeah, that's my salary, bro.
Right. That's exactly right. Yes, it is. Yes.
All right.
Oh,
questions?
I hit the button. Yeah.
5 questions.
Question number 1. What's the weirdest thing you've seen at an airport?
Ooh.
Man.
All right. I'll tell you. All right. So about over Christmas, I saw what appeared to be, I might get fucking canceled here, what appeared to be a trans woman ushered out of security after going through the thingamajig into a private room. And blatantly a trans woman. I mean, like the ugliest woman you've ever seen.
Now, when you say thingamajig,
the thing that, where you stand like this and it gives you the scan. I'm guessing they saw some anomaly show.
Is that what they're called now?
They're called
thingamajig inside the thingamajig. Yeah.
An anomaly showed up.
Anomaly showed up.
Wow.
For me, somebody had a ferret in a carrier. That was like you're taking a ferret in a little pet carrier on a plane. I was like, all right.
I can't get over an anomaly showed up.
Was it a ferret?
In a carrier.
What side?
Oh shit.
Did it make Richard Gere blush?
Oh man. Oh. Nothing any of us say can top this. You might as well just go to the next question.
Okay, question number 2. You guys got overruled by the king. How old were you when you became comfortable swearing around your parents?
That's a good question.
Like mid-20s.
Mid-20s?
I mean, I don't know. I'll go with that.
Yeah, I was probably close. I was probably closer to my 30s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even now, still, I'm 47.
Oh, now I'm dropping F-bombs.
Oh
like
no,
crazy.
yeah, I don't.
I'll drop an F-bomb every now and then, and my brain will be like,
I think he was in my 30s too, Jenners. I was more on the late side, but I told my dad that story of like the coach the parent trying to fight me when I was coaching, and I was like, it was expletive filled, and he's like, "You curse too much," and it just made me so uncomfortable. I just wanted to curse more. So it was like, but I unhinge around my dad. It is what it is. It's all right, 20s and 30s. All right, what is the most inappropriate thing you overheard at your workplace? I'll go first. So this, I'm not
got no answers for any.
So this might or might not be me, but I'm not. I'm going to hide names for the story. So someone's going into. We have a supply closet, and I'm going into the supply closet because they're looking for. So it was me. I'm going into the supply closet because I'm looking for two individuals, and they say, "Hey, Billy and Rob." They're in the drug room in the supply room. So Billy and Rob are in the closet, the drug closet, we call it, right? Okay. So I go in, I'm like, hey, I need you two boys to step out of the closet. Right. And then somebody who is actually physically out of the closet is standing in there. And I go, well, not you. You're already out of the closet. I need these two. So I think that was kind of inappropriate from that person who said
Roy.
You guys even went with the jazz hands.
Yeah, I know. My goodness.
Speaking of two that just came out of the closet. All right.
I was feeling it.
Yeah.
Most inappropriate thing.
What?
The most inappropriate thing we've overheard at work.
Well, I mean, for you and I mean, Jesus Christ, Jenner said, I mean, in the radio, I can't even talk about how canceled we would get by the things that I could say right now.
I'll give you one, and it wasn't even at work. It was me leaving work. And I'm not going to mention the girl's name who did it because I don't want to put her on blast. But in radio, when Toast and I were both there in Miami, you could do something called voice tracking, which means you could lay down your voice in between the music and go home.
Right.
And listen to yourself on the radio talk between the songs. You could just record it all. So I was driving home from Zeta one day, and the girl who came in after me, I was on live till 3 o'clock, and then she came in after me, and she had put the board set up to record her stuff.
Oh.
And then she took a phone call.
Oh, and
but she forgot to take the phone out of program, so the phone is going out on the air.
Oh, boy.
And she was having a conversation with her, with a counselor, about some guy she was sleeping with, and like they did all these drugs, and it was going out like straight up on the radio. I'm blowing up.
I know who was replacing you.
I know exactly who it was.
You.
And I'm like, I am blowing up the hotline in the studio. Like, you're on the air. You're on the air. And finally, she answers the phone. And I'm like, you're on the air. And she's like, whole conversation, like a 10-minute conversation, the whole thing on the radio.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, I couldn't. And when you call the hotline, there's a light on the flashes in your face. She had to ignore that for probably a good 5 minutes.
Oh my God, that's phenomenal. I love her.
She's great people.
She is great. Yeah, she's phenomenal. Love her.
She's very great.
She still have a job?
None of them have jobs anymore. No.
Who works in radio?
The only ones that have jobs anymore is Kimba and Jenner's. That's pretty much it.
I was gonna say.
Kimba. Wow, that's a blast from the past.
There you go.
All right, what do you got next?
Well, I only knew two DJs, so now I know who the story was about.
All right. Question number 3. What are perks of being unattractive?
Oh. I mean, you really don't have to talk to people.
Yeah, there's no expectation.
Yeah, the first thing I thought was leave me alone.
Your personality, you're funny, shines through.
Yeah, I think a perk is just a lot of the attention you would get if you're like a 10 at a bar. Like you could just chill with your friends and be left alone.
Bro,
I think
if you're a 3 at a bar, but you're funny as fuck, you're good.
Especially by the end of the night.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah, goggle eyes
4.5 and
what's the multiplier? Okay. Off ramp.
No.
What's the multiplier with beer goggles?
So it's interesting you bring this up, bro.
Is it now?
For me, because for me, it depends on the type of drink. Like, so when I was in my teens and early 20s, basically drinking possibly illegally, when I would go to a bar, the thing that would get me in the most trouble in terms of taking home or going home with someone that I would never go home with sober was a drink called a mind eraser.
I remember those.
Yes, and I would get them in a pint glass with a straw, and you would just have to suck the whole goddamn thing down, basically in one shot. And I would basically not be able to see after that. And as a result, that caused me to wake up in situations where I said, oh no.
Oh no, this is not good.
I'm not getting anyway.
This is really not good.
Really not.
This
My arm off and get the hell out of here.
It's really bad.
So like Coyote Ugly, right? Where you have to gnaw off your arm to get away.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, so that's a pretty high multiplier.
Mhm.
Okay, so yeah, but
So what? So what is okay? So that's the drink.
Yeah.
So what is it? I mean, if you had to save one now, right? Of the drinks that you drink, and I know we're very specific and picky with what we drink these days. So I mean, I only drink one thing, so I don't really have options. I can't say that a beer, 8 beers puts me in a different place than 4 tequilas because I have no idea. But was there a drink back then, like the Mind Eraser, that it didn't matter? See, we used to have, and Ro knows this.
Apparently, it was a bottle of wine that was spiked with something because I woke up talking to my dad about a mortgage, a 30-year fixed mortgage, with a bathtub overflowing after that ordeal, and I had to recount the whole night. And when I got told what was going on that night, I was quite embarrassed. So that you could never trust again certain bands because they spike things to the umpteenth power. So
certain bands.
Yeah.
We used to have, and Ro knows this because I implemented it for a number of years. So we would do, the white card, right? Whether it was a driver's license or your student ID was like really white on the back. So if we noticed one of our buddies in a situation where clearly they weren't seeing very well,
the beer goggles,
we would put randomly, just put the ID, stick it to your forehead, and just walk them and start talking to them. And then they would go, oh, this is a bad idea. Right? Because it wasn't, it was just there. And they would know. They would know. I'm not trying to convince you otherwise. I'm just telling you, I got a white card on my forehead for a reason.
All right.
Speaking of which, remember that story I told you about last week? About the text messages in the chat or whatever?
Yes.
Word to your mother.
Yes.
I had a conversation with her today. About something that she's potentially buying. And I told her that we discussed that on the show. And she was like, no, you did not. And I said, oh, we absolutely did.
Did you go back and listen?
I said the show title, it came down to the last two. You almost had the show title with Word to Your Mother. And she was like, oh, my God. And then she's like, I want to come on the show. I said, you're absolutely not allowed on the show.
She can sit in.
We're good.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Good.
This is really good.
Oh, no, this is not good.
No, it's
No,
good.
really
It is
good.
good. It's really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
She would get us canceled.
Okay. Fuck it. It's been 8 years. Let's get canceled.
I want my Wednesday nights back. Bring her on.
No way. You never get Wednesday night.
Well,
back.
let's give him his Wednesday night back right now with question number 5. What company can we mix with AI and create the next phenomenon?
Ooh. The next company to mix with.
Well, you guys think about
Next company or profession? Next company or profession?
Profession with
Yes.
AI. The next phenomenon.
Can I tell you that I am shocked that we have not gotten a novel or a book written completely by AI.
Yeah.
No, there you
I
go.
thought
So,
by now
AI
there would be
author.
like an AI author that would be just cranking out
like
10 books a day.
George R. Martin style,
Exactly.
like
Here's my
or
main
like
characters. Here's the story. Write it for me. And
or like the
crank out
Notebook guy, whatever his name is,
30 books a
Nicholas
week.
Sparks or something like that. I think that's his name.
Sure.
The Notebook guy.
Sure.
Yeah, him in AI.
I am shocked that AI isn't every single musical DJ on the radio right now, coast to coast.
Aren't they? Didn't you tell
I
me
think
a
they're probably
story
like
about that?
75%. They're like 75% right now. There's some holdouts in some big markets. Bye-bye.
Really?
My
Have you
favorite...
listened to the DJ on Spotify that does your daily mix for you? I think his name's Gavin. He's fucking phenomenal.
My answer, I think
Never
now it's going to
messes
take
up.
a little bit of like a robotic interface here,
Mm-hmm.
but I think AI chefs, could kill it. They're going to be precise with their how they mix things, how they bake things. They're in tune. You get a smart kitchen. You could have some really good food with AI chefs.
AI doctors, bro. AI doctors are going to solve cancer.
Oh yeah,
that I'm down for. But part of a chef is like,
but would they want
changes to your dish to make it taste a certain way?
Yeah. No. They got it
follow the
down
recipe to the letter. It's
too much fucking turmeric, bro.
Yeah.
Send it back. Tell the chef he sucks.
It's too much fucking smoked paprika, asshole.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they mix it.
What is the strangest? We had this question the other day in the house, and I wanted to ask it on the show. What is the strangest named food?
Gorgonzola cheese.
Oh, it's a good one.
Oh, fuck Gorgonzola. Really? Where does that even come from?
Really good. I have an answer only because I had an answer.
But Gorgonzola.
I'm gonna go because when you translate it in Spanish, but ropa vieja, it's old clothes,
awesome, man.
It's good, but it's called old clothes. I mean, that's like literally calling food old clothes. I'll take the old clothes, please. Okay.
All right.
Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire sauce.
Good.
Yeah. I can't ever even say it, pronounce it, or spell it.
I call it Worcestershire.
Worcestershire sauce. You sound drunk every time you say it. Honey, do you have Worcestershire sauce?
We're going to start chubby chasing.
Really good.
All right, good.
Kumquat.
There you go.
Oh, my goodness. That feels dirty.
It's like that word's going to get us canceled.
You watch your mouth around the children, young
Get that kumquat all over your face. It's awful.
Oh, God.
I don't even know how it came up. It was the girls who were talking about kumquat, and I was like, oh, that's going to be a question for the show for sure. I'm like, how did this even come up? I walked into the conversation.
Like, who names it that? How is that the name you associate with that? It's fruit, right?
It's a fruit.
Yeah.
So we were asking, I think we asked Alexa something about some type of fruit, and kumquat was the number one response.
Like, who names a fruit kumquat?
Yeah.
Feels like a revenge naming.
I mean, it's like,
doesn't it?
It's like cum and queef combined. I don't understand. It's weird.
Cum and what?
It's just cum and queef. It's like very genitalia.
Slap that wiener. Wrap that wiener. Tap that wiener.
Yeah. All those things.
Thanks, Chelsea.
It's the most genitalia of fruit.
For sure.
And that's Chelsea, right? That's her name, Chelsea?
I think it's Bailey or something. Balin. Her name's
Balin. Oh,
Balin.
Whatever.
Balin. There you go.
Swimmy, Sammy, Slammy.
Samsonite.
Hey, you think that
Chelsea Clinton?
That dude that got that was in the court case in his car and got busted driving has got his license back yet?
Yes, I am.
There he is.
He did. He has it back. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, that's amazing. Are you driving? Yeah.
Yes,
no.
I am.
No, you weren't.
Pull over real quick.
Pull over.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I pulled over now.
Yeah, we're taking away.
What are
license.
what are the chances? What are the chances that we get Balin on the show?
Oh, she's blowing.
Are we
up.
trying to?
She's blowing up.
I have no idea. I'm just saying
ask.
I'd love to have her on the show.
Do you think she has a? Do you think she has a level like she won't go on to shows that have a certain amount of downloads and below?
Probably. Yeah. She's a big star now.
Yeah, but total downloads, we're pretty kick-ass.
We're pretty kick-ass, yes. Over the lifespan.
Impressions too. Yeah, we're in the $1 million
we can
baby
paint
club.
the turd gold. You're right. Yeah.
What are we naming this thing?
Oh my goodness. I have so many.
Yeah,
my standout favorite is an Anomaly showed up. But I've got the Doctor of Defense, Yenta the Wrestler. Pete Rose would be an ugly woman. The highest level of passivity. I'm trying to keep a low profile. The OBGYNs. He outkicked our IPF. And does Jen know? I've never laughed harder at an Anomaly showed up. That was the line of the night for me.
I know it was the line of the night. Does Jen know made me laugh though? No, that's just the inside joke. We'll leave it there. Yeah, an Anomaly showed up.
Yeah,
Late entry for me is Kumquat.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't get it canceled with the show title again.
All right, an Anomaly showed up.
I'm good with that.
Oh, hold on. I'm so glad I thought about this. Speaking of which,
no.
hold on. Speaking of which, it's early. We got time. Have you guys seen at all, paid any attention to what is being alleged in regards to Macron and the First Lady of France?
Yes.
No, talk to me.
No.
Okay.
Oh, you haven't seen this?
Okay.
I have not.
Okay.
Talk to his wife is a bit older, right? Than he.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
Yes, his wife is older, and it gets
First
worse.
of all, I would highly suggest. I'm not a huge fan of hers, but she's done a brilliant job with this. Candace Owens has a YouTube series on this called "Becoming Brigitte." Okay. Brigitte Macron is the wife and the first lady of Emmanuel Macron. Emmanuel is 46 years old. Brigitte supposedly, is 71 years old now.
That old.
Okay. Which is weird in itself, right? I mean, it's very strange. So here's where it gets really crooked. The first 30 years, Brigitte apparently, there's no records of her anywhere. There's no photos of her. There's no anything of this woman, right? Who happens to be the first lady of a really large country. So there is record of a Jean-Michel or a John Michael, if you will.
Oh, jeez.
Right? John Michael was married, had 5 children. And then John Michael left, went on vacation. He came back and apparently looked a little different. This is all alleged, but this is what's alleged. John Michael, after 30 years old, is no longer available. Doesn't exist. There's no records. But that's when Brigitte, who was married and had 3 kids when she was the teacher of Emmanuel, who was 15 years old at the time. So they started dating when he was 15 and she was 40. She supposedly left her husband and 3 children to go be with Emmanuel, who is a wonderful poet, apparently. Here's the crazy part, if you guys haven't figured out that this is crazy yet. The accusation of all of this, we already know that she, Brigitte, probably used to be a guy. Jean Michael had 5 children. They believe now that Emmanuel is Brigitte / Jean Michael's son.
I mean, you do Google this before you start talking about it, right?
Allegedly. Because you just have to say allegedly millions of times.
I've heard.
This
court case back in June.
Correct. They sued these 2 people, but they have no proof whatsoever. They cannot rebunk this at all. They can't provide photos. They can't provide anything that would say, you guys are idiots. Here's my brother. Here's my ex-husband. Here are my 3 kids. None of them exist. It's a wild alleged story. I'm just saying.
Right, I got you.
19 times that it's alleged.
I got a fast, quick story.
Wild, though.
And just shows you about Americans in terms of European and like nature. So next, you know, somebody goes, Americans don't really care. They just, I'll prove it to you. They don't even know what country this is. And I'm staring at the country, and it's basically east of France, and it's basically right on top of Portugal, right? So I'm like, okay, like I don't know this. I'm like, what is it? And I'm thinking in my mind, I don't know. Like, what's east of France? Well, it was you got it. It was a Bay of Biscay. It was there is nothing east of France. I had no idea. They filled it in just to trick me. And I was like, well, it worked because I had no idea what was east of France. I thought it was something, and apparently it was a body of water. So yeah, we don't really care. If that ends up being your dad or your whatever, who cares?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Did an anomaly show up at any point in the story?
I
guess
I'd
not.
like to ask the prime
They're
minister.
unable to debunk it.
Hey, Emmanuel, has an anomaly ever showed up after
Is
the
it debunk it?
Debunk
it.
That'll be Roy Firestone's first question.
I think that should be the first
Refute
question. Yes.
and debunk.
Yeah.
There you go.
Did you marry a 71-year-old man?
That you were related to?
Yeah. There's your first question, Roy.
It's incredible.
Right.
The story's
That is
nuts.
That's insane.
Totally nuts.
I'll be honest, I was all in on it and I was believing you until you mentioned her name.
Brigitte.
No, Candace. I don't know what to fucking think.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not a huge fan of her. She's over the top.
A little bit.
I've never listened to a single show of hers, but I've watched snippets of this whole thing. And it's not just her. Like, she's got all of the people that they sued that they can't refute anything because
the one
so
thing
they
is if you're
said
coming
this is
out
her.
like that,
They showed a photo. They showed a photo of a young girl saying this was her when she was a young girl, and then they showed a photo of Jean Michael's daughter, right, which would be Emmanuel's sister today, and it's 1,000% her. Like, they're literally, it's her grown up. There's no discrepancy whatsoever. So they've done nothing to refute it. Is the problem that everyone has? I think it's really entertaining.
All right. Yeah, man, that's the show. We'll do it again next week. We got any guests lined up for next week, Jenners?
Sure.
Okay, beautiful. I look forward to talking to them.
Look,
always,
man, guests are a work in progress, man.
Go Canes.
Yo,
Beige.
Macaron.
Kumquat.
Kumquat.